Lord Stark?
I looked for you on the Trident.
We weren't there.
Your friend, the usurper, would lie beneath the ground if we had been.
The Mad King is dead. Rhaegar lies beneath the ground. Why weren't you there to protect your prince?
Our prince wanted us here.
Where's my sister?
I wish you good fortune in the wars to come. And now it begins.
No. Now it ends.
Hey guys, Kevin here, and today I'm going to update my rewind on Prince Rhaegar Targaryen and Lady Lyanna Stark. We are told the story of Rhaegar and Lyanna throughout the series, or at least the official version of the story.
That's Lyanna, my father's sister. King Robert was supposed to marry her, but Rhaegar Targaryen kidnapped her. Robert started a war to win her back. He killed Rhaegar, but she died anyway.
Did you have to bury her in a place like this? She should be on a hill somewhere with the sun and the clouds above her.
She was my sister. This is where she belongs.
She belonged with me. In my dreams, I kill him every night.
It's done, Your Grace. Targaryens are gone.
Not all of them.
Your Aunt Lyanna.
My father never talked about her. Sometimes I'd find him down here lighting the candles. They say she was beautiful.
I saw her once. I was a boy, living with your mother's family. Lord Went held a great tourney at Harrenhal. Everyone was there. The Mad King, your father, Robert Baratheon, and Lyanna. She was already promised to Robert. And you can imagine what it was like for me, a boy from nowhere, with nothing to his name, watching these legendary men tilting at the lists. The last two riders were Barristan Selmy and Rhaegar Targaryen. When Rhaegar won, everyone cheered for their prince. I remember the girls laughing when he took off his helmet and they saw that silver hair, how handsome he was. Until he rode right past his wife, Elia Martell, and all the smiles died. I've never seen so many people so quiet. He rode past his wife, and he lay a crown of winter roses in Lyanna's lap, blue as frost. How many tens of thousands had to die because Rhaegar chose your aunt?
Yes, he chose her. And then he kidnapped her and raped her.
Littlefinger's reaction to the allegations of rape and kidnapping suggests that neither Sansa nor the audience should believe the official story.
Did he?
No, he did. Heard the story 1,000 times.
But more on that later. Robert Baratheon's love of Lyanna had a major impact on his marriage with Cersei.
You've always hated him.
Hated him. I worshipped him. Every girl in the Seven Kingdoms dreamed of him, but he was mine by oath. And when I finally saw him on our wedding day in the Sept of Baelor, lean and fierce and black-bearded, it was the happiest moment of my life. And that night he crawled on top of me stinking of wine and did what little he could do. And whispered in my ear, Lyanna. Your sister was a corpse and I was a living girl, and he loved her more than me. What was she like?
You've never asked about her, not once. Why not?
At first, just saying her name, even in private, I felt like I was breathing life back into her. I thought if I didn't talk about her, she'd just fade away for you. When I realized that wasn't going to happen, I refused to ask out of spite. I didn't want to give you the satisfaction of thinking I cared enough to ask. And eventually it became clear that my spite didn't mean anything to you. As far as I could tell, you actually enjoyed it.
So why now?
What harm could Lyanna Stark's ghost do to either of us that we haven't done to each other 100 times over?
You want to know the horrible truth? I can't even remember what she looked like. I only know she was the one thing I ever wanted. Someone took her away from me. And 7 kingdoms couldn't fill the hole she left behind.
I felt something for you once, you know.
I know.
Even after we lost our first boy. For quite a while, actually. Was it ever possible for us? Was there ever a time, ever a moment?
No.
Long before Cersei and Robert were married, Hand of the King Tywin Lannister sought a marriage for his daughter Cersei and Prince Rhaegar.
I've been promised to the prince. When will we marry?
You'll never wed the prince. You'll wed the king.
Mad King Aerys refused that marriage, however, and Tywin later got his revenge on Rhaegar's wife and children.
The last time I was in the capital was many years ago. Another wedding. My sister Elia and Rhaegar Targaryen, the last dragon. My sister loved him. She bore his children, swaddled them, rocked them, fed them at her own breast. Elia wouldn't let the wet nurse touch them. And beautiful, noble Rhaegar Targaryen left her for another woman. That started a war, and the war ended right here when your father's army took the city.
Wasn't actually.
They butchered those children. My nephew and niece carved them up and wrapped them in Lannister cloaks. And my sister, you know what they did to her?
Oberyn's characterization of Rhaegar leaving Elia for another woman, although sad, does sound more like a love affair than a kidnapping. Keep in mind that everyone who calls Rhaegar a rapist was either too young to know what really happened, or was the guy who killed him. The people who actually knew Rhaegar thought pretty highly of him and esteemed him as the last dragon.
Your brother Rhaegar was the last dragon. Viserys is less than the shadow of a snake.
When your brother Rhaegar led his army into battle at the Trident, men died for him because they believed in him, because they loved him, not because they'd been bought at a slaver's auction. I fought beside the last dragon on that day, Your Grace. I bled beside him.
Rhaegar fought valiantly, Rhaegar fought nobly, and Rhaegar died.
Did you know him well, Sir Barristan?
I did, Your Grace. Finest man I ever met.
Finest man I ever met is not a comment Barristan would use to describe a known rapist. Barristan himself is arguably the finest man in the series, and the only other person we've seen Barristan esteem is Ned Stark. So Barristan's words suggest that Prince Rhaegar, a man accused of rape and kidnapping, was an even more honorable person than Ned Stark or Barristan himself.
I was thinking about all the times your brother made me go with him down from the Red Keep into the streets of King's Landing.
Why?
We liked to walk among the people. We liked to sing to them.
He sang to them.
Yes. Rhaegar would pick a spot on the Hook or the Street of Seeds, and then he'd sing, just like all the other minstrels.
And what did you do?
I made sure no one killed him. And I collected the money. Well, he'd like to see how much he could make.
He was good.
He was very good. Viserys never told you.
He told me Rhaegar was good at killing people.
Rhaegar never liked killing. He loved singing.
And what did you do with the money?
Well, one time he gave it to the next minstrel down the street. One time he gave it to an orphanage in Flea Bottom. One time we got horribly drunk.
Show Rhaegar seems like a much happier person than the character in the books. In the books, Sir Barristan tells Daenerys that he's not certain it was in Rhaegar to be happy. That there was a melancholy to him. A sense of doom. In the books, Rhaegar doesn't sing in the streets of King's Landing, but in the ruins of Summerhall, where he was born, and where Maester Aemon's brother, King Aegon V, and most of his children and grandchildren died in a wildfire experiment while he was trying to hatch dragon eggs. Only one Targaryen is fireproof, and that is only the case in the show. In the books, Daenerys burns her hand pulling a spear out of Drogon's back and coming into contact with the dragon's boiling hot blood. This is similar to how Jon burns his hand fighting a White sent to kill Lord Commander Mormont. Like Jon, Rhaegar was a really good fighter, but never enjoyed fighting. Like Jon, Rhaegar wasn't great at explaining his actions and needed others to defend him. And like Jon, this is probably what got him killed. Jon seems to have Rhaegar's personality and skill set, just as Tyrion Lannister inherited the personality and skill set of his father, Tywin Lannister. As for Lyanna Stark, it is clear in the book that she does not want to marry King Robert, stating, "Robert will never keep to one bed." At that time in the books, Robert already had bastard children, and Lyanna worried that even his love for her was not enough to change his ways.
My Aunt Lyanna. I've seen her statue in the crypt. My father never talks about her.
What'd you get out of here? We're sparring.
Who are you going to spar with when Ned goes off to the Eyrie?
I don't know.
Lyanna, by the way, ended up sparring with Benjen while Ned was away with Robert and Jon Arryn at the Eyrie, and likely went by the name the Knight of the Laughing Tree at the tourney of Harrenhal. She is often compared to Arya in both personality and in looks, and had clearly studied her brother's fighting techniques.
Benjen always lifts his chin when he's about to charge.
And lowers it when he's going to dodge, my lady.
Lyanna was not your typical damsel in distress. And now let's talk about Jon Snow. In Season 1, Ned tells Robert that Jon's mother was a woman named Wylla.
There was that one, what was her name? That common girl of yours. Becca, with the great big tits you could bury your face in.
Bessie. She was one of yours.
Bessie! Thank the gods for Bessie. And her tits. Yours was, Alina? No, you told me once. Meryl? Your bastard's mother.
Wylla.
That's it. She must have been a rare wench to make Lord Eddard Stark forget his honour. He never told me what she looked like.
Nor will I.
Robert knows nothing of Jon Snow's mother other than this name, and presumes that Wylla must have been spectacularly beautiful if she convinced the Honorable Ned Stark to forget about his honor. But some characters had their doubts.
You think highly of this boy?
Good.
Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
And a bastard by some tavern slut.
Perhaps, but that wasn't Ned Stark's way.
Melisandre's seduction scene also brings clues of Jon Snow's parentage.
There's power. Power to make life. Power to make light. And power to cast shadows.
Melisandre tells Jon that there's power inside of him. The power to cast shadows. Melisandre was able to cast shadows with Stannis because he has King's blood, and the suggestion that she can cast shadows with Jon suggests that he also has King's blood. But the biggest clue of Jon's parentage came in Jon's last conversation with Ned.
It was great honor serving in the Night's Watch. The Starks have manned the wall for thousands of years. And you are a Stark. You might not have my name. You have my blood.
Is my mother alive? Does she know about me, where I am, where I'm going? Does she care?
The next time we see each other, we'll talk about your mother. I promise.
I promise. Ned's last words to Jon were also Ned's last words to Jon's mother.
Ned?
Lyanna.
Is that you? Is that really you? You're not a dream.
No, I'm not a dream. I'm here. Right here.
I've missed you, Big Mother.
Miss you too.
I want to be brave.
You are?
I'm not. I don't want to die.
You're not going to die. Get us some water.
No, what did you
Is there a mace there?
Listen to me, Ned. If Robert finds out, he'll kill him. You know he will. You have to protect him. Promise me, Ned. Promise me. Promise me, Ned. Promise me.
Ned lied about Jon being his bastard to protect him from King Robert. Lyanna whispers if Robert finds out, he'll kill him. And this fear is well founded.
I'll kill every Targaryen I get my hands on.
She's little more than a child.
Oh. Soon enough that child will spread her legs and start breeding.
Tell me we're not speaking of this.
Oh, it's unspeakable to you? What her father did to your family, that was unspeakable. What Rhaegar Targaryen did to your sister, the woman I loved.
Ned even has to resign when Robert orders him to kill a Targaryen baby.
The whore is pregnant.
You're speaking of murdering a child.
I warned you this would happen back in the north. I warned you, but you didn't care to hear. Well, hear it now. I want them dead. Mother and child both. And that fool Viserys as well. Is that plain enough for you? I want them both dead.
You'll dishonor yourself forever if you do this.
Honor? I've got 7 kingdoms to rule. 1 king, 7 kingdoms. Do you think honor keeps them in line? Do you think it's honor that's keeping the peace? It's fear. Fear and blood.
Then we're no better than the Mad King.
Careful, Ned. Careful now.
I followed you into war. Twice. Without doubts. Without second thoughts. But I will not follow you now. The Robert I grew up with didn't tremble at the shadow of an unborn child.
She dies.
I will have no part in it.
You're the king's hand, Lord Stark. You'll do as I command, or I'll find me a hand who will.
And good luck to him. I thought you were a better man.
Out. Out. Damn you, I've done with you. Go, run back to Winterfell! I'll have your head on a spike! I'll put it there myself, you fool! You think you're too good for this? Too proud and honorable? This is a...
Targaryen, alone in the world. It's a terrible thing.
So the truth has finally been revealed. Jon is the child of Prince Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark of Winterfell, a child of ice and fire. Nephew of both Ned Stark and Daenerys Targaryen. Cousin of the Stark children, not half-brother. Jon's real half-siblings were both killed by the Mountain, and were the nephew and niece of Prince Oberyn Martell and his brother Prince Doran Martell. And now the question is, when will Jon Snow find out?
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Like, comment, subscribe, share, check out my other videos. My next rewind will of course be Ramsay Bolton, as I said in the last video, and I will have that out as soon as I can.